Good morning, everybody. My name's James, and welcome to the Planet FPL Gameweek 12 Deadline stream. And it's live. Excuse me while I clear my throat. On the screen, you will see graphics to assist you with your decision making for the game week ahead. Please check them before submitting questions. I'll be answering questions in the order that they are submitted. To the top right hand corner of the screen, you will see my team locked in for the game week. 2 free transfers have been made. Ben Davis is in for Kieran Tierney, and Heung-min Son is in for Kai Havertz. That kind of leaves me dead in the bank money-wise. I'm intending to roll next week, get Callum Wilson in for 14 and 15, downgrade someone else and take a 1 week punt in game week 15 before wildcarding in game week 16, because I might need to get rid of them Spurs players. Below that, you'll see my top captaincy picks for the game week. I don't blame anyone who wants to take Salah on this week with Ronaldo or Harry Kane. My preference between the two would be Ronaldo. I think particularly for Ronaldo owners, there must be a big temptation to stick the armband on him ahead of Mo Salah. But honestly, truthfully, if I had all three sitting in my team, I think I'd bottle it and still go with Salah, because the effective ownership, Liverpool are at home at Anfield against, yes, an improving Arsenal, but an Arsenal side that may be weak in the midfield area today. To the left of me, you'll see schedule and predictions for all 10 games this week. Let's get them on the screen for you so you can see them all. They should be there for you now. And benching dilemmas. Page 1, you'll see on the screen now, Vardy over Tony. Tony over Rafinha. Rafinha over Mbeumo. Mbeumo over Benrahma. Those with the tick are the players that I would select between the two. Benrahma over Gallagher on page 2. Gallagher over Sarr. Sarr over Rudiger. Rudiger over Livramento. On page 3, if it turns around for me, which would be very useful, there she is. Livramento over Reguilon. Reguilon over Shaw. Shaw over Hwang. Hwang over Smith-Rowe. On page 4, Smith-Rowe over Gray. Gray over Davis. Davis over Duffy. Duffy over Johnson. And on page 5, you'll see some dilemmas for the goalkeepers. I'd go McCarthy over Gator. Gator over Still, who are playing goal for Brighton today. A few of you may have him sitting in your teams. Still over Foster. Foster over Ramsdale. Alright, that's the graphics. Oh, and right at the bottom, fixture ticker for the next 5 game weeks for all 20 teams. Big thanks as ever to my man on the graphics. Helps if I point the right way. FPL Captain. Give him a follow on Twitter. Was I pointing the right way? I'm not sure now. Right, let's get into the questions, guys. I wish you all the very, very best of luck. I'll get through as many of your dilemmas as I can over the next 54 minutes or so. Mohammed Cameras, man, you are regularly on it first, mate. Fair game. Good morning, James. How are you? I'm very well, thank you. Looking forward to the stream. Good to see you. Best of luck for game week 12. Thank you. And to you too, sir. Hamish Holmes says, morning, Chief. Is Bobby Dazzler going to be back sooner than expected? Fancy getting Jota next week rather than taking a hit this week. I found Klopp's comments in his press conference slightly misleading, because he said, oh yeah, he's coming along fine, and then he also said he's still got a little bit of way to go. Now, what does that mean, right? So, remember, we got midweek fixtures game week 14. So, if Roberto Firmino isn't fit inside the next 2 game weeks, he's going to miss Liverpool's next 4 fixtures. It's going to come quick, right? So, plus we're hamstring, right? You presume take it easy. He's not going to, when he is available, he's not going to go straight back into the starting 11. He's not available for this week. I don't suppose he's going to be fit for the Champions League games. And which game do they ease him back in? Considering Everton and Wolves might be high intensity games in 14-15. Might be looking at Villa at home, game week 16. Honestly, I think Jota will be okay for a few weeks. You want to get him next week? Get him next week, mate. SN says, hey mate, on Thursday stream you recommended I start Christensen over Hwang. Despite having Chilwell start already, you predicted Leicester to score. So has your opinion on this changed? No, not particularly. I would still go with a Chelsea player, right? I wouldn't put too much difference between Rudiger and Christensen. There is slight difference between the two. Rudiger is obviously a better attacking threat. But yeah, I would still go Christensen over Hwang. And I do think Christensen will probably start for Chelsea today. Was he in my predicted lineup? Yeah, he was, because I think Thiago Silva will probably miss out. Joe Burns says, good morning, James. Good morning, Joe. Warnock says, morning, James. Thanks for saying good morning, people. That's really nice. We don't have to, because I'll be reading it out all the time. Warnock says, morning, James. Have those without Reece James missed the boat, and what to do with Mount and Havertz? Look, we can't have everyone we want, right? I'd like to have Reece James in my team. I'd like to have Chilwell. I'd like to have Trent. It doesn't all work. I think my attacking 8 looks pretty good this week. Have people missed the boat? No, you can still go and buy him. But I agree with the fact that Chelsea's brilliant 5 fixtures have gone. Now's not the week to suddenly be buying the Chelsea player. From that perspective, yes, the amazing fixtures have gone. But then Leicester, Man United, Watford shouldn't hold any fears. I mean, it won't for Chelsea, put it that way. Tom Campbell, my friend, hope you're well, says, morning James, how do you see the Spurs game going tactically? Do you think Conte's focus will be shape and organisation over trying to exploit the typical Leeds open style? Thanks, pal. Well, I think, Tom, because of the poor fitness within the Tottenham squad, which he's obviously been working really hard on over the last couple of weeks, it would be naive to try and throw punches at Leeds in terms of making it a basketball match. Despite, you might add, at the top end of the pitch, us having a little bit more quality and more firepower. So I said on my stream on Thursday, and I said it on a Spaces chat that I joined on Thursday night as well, that I think Conte's primary focus is actually to work with them defensively, possibly even more so with Christian Romero injured for a while as well. So I think that's his focus first. I think that's right for most managers when they come into a football club, is to say, right, look, we have to fix this up defensively first. And Leeds is the right sort of team to be playing a counter-attacking strategy against. Doesn't mean Tottenham can't try and control patterns of play and stuff, but I don't think we're going to be going gung-ho and stuff, Tom, no. Harry Lewis says, morning James, hope you're well. Who would you start, Liver or Rudiger? Good luck this week. Harry, you will see them right next to each other on page 2 of the bench in Dilemmas. Essence says, do you prefer having so many games at the 3pm kickoff, or do you want it more spread out? Anyway, have a good day, James, and hope the double Spurs pays off for you. Me and the wife are actually going to go and see the Bond film today. Yeah, I realise there's about 6 weeks behind everyone else. We're going to see a screening about 2:30, drop the little man off at the grandparents, hopefully get back in time for Liverpool and Arsenal. So I'm going to be unaware of what's going on with the 3 o'clock till it's finished. So this is probably the closest I'll ever get to the match of the day challenge. You could say, oh, James, just skip them. Listen, I'm going to get to my dad's house and he's going to have the Liverpool game on. So there ain't going to be no avoiding shit. But yeah, more 3 o'clocks the merrier. I wish Tottenham were playing at 3 o'clock today. Joe Burns says, thoughts on Rudiger to Cancelo and Havertz to Jota. No brainer. You quite like that, mate. Quite like that. Ben M says, cheers for the awesome content. By the way, content announcement for our Patron of December coming at 11:01 p.m. AM for you, immediately following the deadline. Ben M says, cheers for the awesome content. I'm considering Diaz to Region to fund Vardy to Lane. I'm sure you mean Kane rather than lame. It could be lame, who knows. Diaz to Region to fund Vardy to Kane, or Rafinha to Jota, or Diaz to Cancelo, or just roll and see where I'm at. Thanks, legend. Seems like there's a lot going on here, mate. To be honest, I think the priority would arguably be Cancelo, actually. I think City look really good things for a clean sheet. There is no reason to suspect that Cancelo won't start that particular game. You throw in the attacking return, and I tell you what, he's the real kind of outside punt for captaincy this week, I think. I think Cancelo would probably be the priority of the 3 players. I'm pleased that I've got them all. Emily Sissoni says, but if you're in too much doubt, Ben, roll, mate. Roll. If you're in so much indecision, so often that's the best decision. Emily Sissoni says, hi, James, transfer Vardy to Kane. Would you take a -4 to go from Havertz to Jota or Zara? I'm going to guess that's a Zaha. Well, since Lukaku is not starting and Klopp's comments about Firmino, is it worth waiting until next week? Yeah, probably not the -4, I would say. Probably not the -4. So, yeah, I would probably roll with Havertz this week. In my case, I've made moves and it's free transfers. Would I have gone Havertz to Jota for a -4? No. Havertz to Son, I think same. I think one more week of Havertz is okay, actually. Though I do expect Leicester are going to be better defensively now that Johnny Evans is back. Hamish Holmes says, tell us more about this Leicester sausage roll. Texture, meat to pastry ratio, flavour, variety, etc. Worth ordering a home delivery. Try it. It's worth saying, look, I'd had a couple of beers, right? And everything tastes a bit better when you've had a couple of beers. But I just remember it was freezing cold. I'd had a couple of beers. And it was an absolutely banging sausage roll. Credit to Leicester City. Tom Bolton says, Havertz, Jota, free transfer or roll. Feels a bit sideways this game week. Then if it does, Tom, don't do anything. For free, I'd probably make the move. But if it feels sideways to you, you stick, mate. My question to you would be, What do you do next week if you don't? Are you making the same move? Just consider that sort of thing. Like, are there other issues where someone's got a fixture turn that's going to be a different problem for you next week? I don't mind rolling, Tom. I always think it's a position of power. Ben Clark says, hey James, play Foden or bring in Son. Just a summary on Phil Foden, right? So he's a doubt, obviously, we know. But he's a doubt for Manchester City every week. So is it any different to normal? You don't want to sell Phil Foden. You'd be gutted if you sell Phil Foden and he plays. I think the answer probably lies for you, Ben, and this goes for pretty much anyone else asking a Foden question. The answer will lie in what's on your bench. Because the good news with this one is it might not be the Foden 1-pointer, it might be a 0-pointer. Therefore, what's your bench look like? Now, I'm seeing a lot of teams with strong benches. A shout out one of our patrons, Rob Pick. I'm sure he won't mind me bringing him up. His bench this week looks phenomenal, and he was in a similar position. I was like, Rob, he wanted to take a hit. I was like, don't be taking a hit with that bench, mate. Your bench is phenomenal. I'd want to start all of them. So I think it depends really on what your bench look like, Ben. If your bench looks horrific, I'd probably do it. If you've got nice coverage on the bench, I'd crack on with Foden, mate. The thing is, do you really want to sell Phil Foden? Is the reality. Why is he in there? He could get rotated in a home fixture anyway, right? Alexander Tchaikovsky, sorry if I mispronounced that. Play 2 of Tony and Buemo, Rafinha, Livramento, cheers. They are all on the benching dilemma screen. 3 of them are on page 1 of the benching dilemma screen. I'll clarify for you. I would be playing Tony and Rafinha. Dragon Josiowski said, when was the last time you tripled up on Spurs? At least it's the last game, so they can't ruin majority of your weekend. Spurs FPL, I know. So game week 5 last year, I bought Kane, Son and Bale. I went the lot for a -4. Kane and Son worked out magnificently. Obviously the Bale punt obviously didn't so much. And I think he was gone quite quickly for me. I mean, I've held him for game week 8. I had his goal against Brighton, but that was it. Well, obviously wasn't worth it for the money. I mean, it got me about, I don't know, 8-9 points or something. Kane and Son were good buys. So that was 3 attacking players, and that was under Mourinho. But that was the same thing. It was taking advantage of what looked like extremely good fixtures on paper. Now, in hindsight, West Ham at home, Brighton at home, they weren't that great, but at that point then, they did. And it's worth saying, Spurs scored 3 goals in, 15 minutes against West Ham. So that was the last time. Davis, look, I'm not that big on. It was the one that was affordable for me to get in. I need a bit of coverage because I think next week is going to be a bit of a problem in terms of selection of defensive players, like Livramento's away to Liverpool, for example. There are some others who've got some tricky fixtures. Picking defensive players in game week 13 might be more difficult. So I'm going to probably start Ben Davis next week away to Burnley. That's the plan and the idea instead of Livramento, because I didn't really want to be starting Lowton against Kane and Son. So yeah, look, I'll gamble and I'll go for it, and then look, there's 2 very good home fixtures afterwards. That's the thinking. I'm wildcarding in game week 16. I'll sum up exactly what I said on Monday's podcast on Ben Davis. Is if you've already used that first wildcard, please don't buy him, because I think it could change at almost any point in terms of his playing time. But if you've still got it, or are using it right now, I think he's a reasonable get at 4.4. His underlapping runs are quite interesting on what I've seen from the 2 games so far. Ritwick says, Asp out for Region, Royal or Shaw? My preference would be Emerson Royal. A lot of people said, what's your preference? I mean, quite frankly, we could toss a coin. I think for me, it comes down to, I think Region can't finish for Toffee. And I think Emerson on the back post could be good things. I would want the player for the 4 weeks. And I look at the fact that Pascal Struijk could be playing left back again for Leeds tomorrow. Norwich's weaknesses down their left side. Those are the things that give Emerson the ever so slight nod. And I think he's getting better week on week. I also think he's a little bit fitter than Region as well. We saw Region come off at Everton a couple of weeks ago. Matt Doherty played left wing back late in the game. Emerson had powered through the whole game against Vitesse 3 days earlier and was still powering through the end of the Everton game as well. So that's why there's a slight preference. Hamish Holmes. Now, the big question on everyone's lips. Will Brandon Williams keep starting for Norwich? Well, we got a new manager in, mate, so we absolutely guess in a way. I think, and I discussed this with the advanced tier patrons yesterday, that I think, look, the last 11 won at Brentford. It was within a system that Dean Smith likes. He might just send them out again and go, look, you won the last game. I'm going to give you a chance to keep your shirts. And Brandon Williams was better at Brentford. So I would say that I would expect him to start. Do you want to be starting him regularly in FPL? No. Therefore, it doesn't particularly matter. Andrew Jarvis says, hello, mate. Hope you're well. Vardy and Havertz to Kane and Gallagher from -4 now. Or roll and do it for next week. I'm concerned I won't want to move off Vardy next game week if I leave it. No, you won't. You won't. But you could do, say, Havertz to Gallagher next week. And then do Vardy to Kane the week after. When Vardy goes to Southampton, and obviously then Kane's got Brentford and Norwich at home, you might feel a little bit better about it by then. But you're letting a couple of Kane fixtures go, aren't you? Having Vardy over Kane next week's very reasonable. So I get that, Andrew. So I don't mind that. Gallagher next week, Kane the week after. Don't mind it at all. Luke Hopkinson says, morning, James. No question from me. Just good luck and have a good one tomorrow. Hope we get one over on you. I wish you luck, Luke. I fucking hope you don't get one over on us. Kenneth Faz, does Livramento outscore Hwang this week? You want my honest opinion on that? No. I think it's 2 points for both of them. I think Norwich will score today. I think it will be 2 points for both of them. But I would pick Livramento of the two. Noah Zari, hi mate. Do you watch FPL Focal videos? The guy is terrific. I haven't got time to watch anybody else's content, but fair fucks to FPL Focal. Eshen says, hey James, on a wild card, should I keep Foden if not suitable replacements? Long and short of it, yes. James Nelson says, hi James, hope you're well. Thank you so much for the content during the international break. Is Cancelo worth a -4 from Rudiger or a -4 Williams to Emerson? Thanks. In theory, in terms of the way I've described the games, you may get an immediate payback on going Rudiger to Cancelo. I'd be very, very tempted. Very tempted. But generally speaking, probably no. But based on what I'm saying, yes. Does that make sense? No, probably not. Rickwick says, Rafinha or one of Region, Royal or Short start. Yeah, you go with the Brazilian superstar, mate. Most of you know how I feel about him. Tottenham are not in a good place defensively yet, right? And that's why he needs to work on it. So, Rafinha could turn up this week. Hamish Holmes, the Sky question, you considering Norgard? Wish I went there instead of Mbeumo. Tiers value and single game day. May daisy chain it. No, I'm not, Hamish, unless something different comes up for me value-wise. I agree with what you're saying. Yes, I wish I'd bought him instead of Mbeumo. Do I think it's worth the extra transfers to remedy that? No. No, I don't, mate. Jack Charlton says, morning, mate. Thoughts on Gundogan for these next few fixtures? Considering selling Foden for Gundogan seems like a decision I'll regret by next weekend. All the best for the game week. Yeah, I don't like that as a sideways move. However, I think Gundogan could do very well this weekend because if Foden is out, who's playing through the middle for City? I wouldn't think it's the sort of fixture to play Bernardo Silva there. Sterling through the middle? Could it be Mahrez comes into the team and Jesus through the middle possibly this week, actually? But I think we're looking at Gundogan probably being the midfield runner that obviously gets in around the box. I would bet that Gundogan will score this weekend. But I would bet that Phil Foden will score if he plays, mate. I probably wouldn't make the move. Downstairs, morning legend. Thanks for all you do. Thank you. Son, Wilson and Loris in for me this week from -4. Like you are wildcard in 16. Need to play one of Pukki and Mbeumo, Livramento and decide bench order for the other two. Good luck. Deep breath. I'd play Pukki. I'd play Pukki. On pens. Fancied him to score today. I'd play Pukki. Aaron Lever says, morning James, Antonio or Jimenez out for Kane with the next few game weeks in mind. I've had Antonio since the start. What's the next few though? So it's a little bit dependent. So if you're saying next 5, ironically I'd rather sell Jimenez. If you're saying just the next 3, I'd probably rather sell Antonio. If you need to sell the player this specific week, I'd rather sell Jimenez. But the next 2 look much better for Jimenez. So it really depends. How long is that for you? Next few. Because next few to me means I would say 3. Therefore, I think the decision would be to sell Antonio. Alistair Coper says, hey mate, trying to decide between Antonio and Tony. I know you dropped Antonio last week, but would you still do it now you've gone past the Liverpool game and Tony has played Norwich? Thanks. Yes, I probably would, actually. I would. I mean, I think Antonio is probably good things for a goal this weekend, but so I think Tony is as well. And next week, when West Ham go to the Etihad, Tony's got Everton at home. Shout out to one of our friends of the show. And this is always worth remembering. Who was it messaged me? I'll tell you. You probably don't care, but I'm going to tell you anyway because I've decided I want to. Chris Woods messaged me a couple of hours ago and he said, I think they're getting rid of Tony next week. I said, you ain't getting rid of him next week, man. He's got Everton at home. Yeah, piss poor at the moment. Trust me, the way this weekend goes, I don't think you want to sell Ivan Tony next week. So, yes, if I was in that position, it would still be the same. I'd be selling Antonio. Billy Taylor says, morning Jimbo, no FPL question, but what's the most unusual snack you've had at a football ground? You've got me there. I'm going to say donuts. Donuts at Wembley. Krispy Kremes. You shouldn't be having donuts at a football ground. Good question. Theodore says, hi James, Ben Davies or Ben White for the next 6 to 8 game weeks? The battle of the Bens for me. I think over that period, Ben White, actually, just a little bit more security is going to play. I don't know how many times you'll want to start in mind, but I think beyond the next 4, that will apply to Ben Davies as well. I'm going to say Ben White. Jock says, hi James, have Kane, Vardy and Tony. Would you sacrifice Tony to get Son or Jota for Mbeumo or Rafinha? I've got 2 FTs. Excuse me, no. I do not want to sell Ivan Tony. I know he's been doing nothing. I do not want to sell him ahead of Newcastle and Everton. That's where I'm at with it. So no. Tom Kelly says, morning James, would you take a -4 hit to get Son in if it meant losing Rudiger, Ben Rama and Antonio? If so, would you say Hwang or Armstrong? Not keen on either, mate. The Armstrong moment's gone. Yes, there's a Norwich fixture today, but then what are you doing with Armstrong when he hits Liverpool away next week? Don't look so good then, does it? So I think that moment's gone. If you've got Southampton attackers, great, obviously. But I wouldn't be going there this week. Hwang, I'm not keen on. I've been consistent on this week after week. I'm not keen on. So it's going to be a no from me, Tom. Mike Hasty, which 2 out of Cornet, Antonio, Reguilon, Gallagher and Mbeumo? What to start? To buy? Antonio, you definitely play. Out of the rest of them, truthfully, I'll play Maxwell Cornet. Advanced tier patrons will know. Zaris says, good morning James, pick 3 of 5 to start. Reguilon, Laporte, Cancelo, Livramento, Rudiger. Greetings from Greece. Definitely the City players, Cancelo and Laporte, and it's Rudiger for me, I think. Double checks. Yeah, I've got them in a row. Rudiger over Livramento over Reguilon on the bench and dilemmas. So yeah, Cancelo, Livramento, Rudiger. Go with the consistency of the big teams. FPL telling Josh, morning James, Havertz out for a free transfer, can afford Sonny. Or do I go for Jota instead and assess the Spurs boys one more game week? As of Ronaldo this week, can't wait a week and get Kane over Son instead. Sorry, can wait a week and get Kane over Son instead. I said earlier in the week my preference would actually be Jota over Son in terms of priority. And I think what I meant by that is it's because you know that Jota has a limited time frame, which every week you wait, he's obviously... Firmino's going to close the walls in, right, a little bit. Although I'm sure they're all going to get rotated, including even Salah, at some point in December. So I think for me, Jota is where I'd want to go first. Nicky Kassam says, I still have Semedo. Got to keep him now with the next 2 after this, I guess. Have cash to move into Cancelo for -4. Move him. Yeah, honestly, Nicky, I know the next 2, wicked, Norwich away, Burnley at home. Get that. Cancelo, mate, move it. Get it done. I'd buy him. Semedo looks like a 1-pointer to me this week. I think Cancelo's a minimum 6. So you've got the immediate on it, and then you've got the comfort blanket of the Man City player going forward. Honestly, I'd do it, Nicky. Joe Burns says, remember to like the stream, guys. Thanks, Joe. Yeah, if you're in the stream, give it the old thumbs up job. Subscribe, all that malarkey. There's plenty coming for you over the next month or so. I'm going to say there's 8 deadline streams in a 33 game week period coming up for you in December. Some of them at some strange times. Vivek Gore says, hi James, need to get Kane this week with a -4. Which plans you do not need to get Kane this week. Mendy to Gator free transfer. And Antonio to Kane from -4. Diaz to Region free transfer. Not this week, mate. And Antonio to Kane from... I don't like either, mate. I'm straightforward about it. Don't. You do not need. You want. You do not need. You're not going to fall a million places if Harry Kane goes off this week, mate. You do not need. The answer is no to neither as far as I'm concerned. Zaris says, guys, smack the like button. Come on, we miss James. Show him love. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks, guys. I missed you too. Most of you. Nick Jones says, hi, James. Is it worth transferring Sanchez to a Ramsdale or Gator for free? What's on your bench, mate? If you got Ben Foster, just crack on, mate. If you got Foster or Steele, just crack on. Let it go this week. If you haven't, you want a goalkeeper, yeah, fine. Personally, I'd go Gator at this stage. Santosh says, hi James. Hello, Santosh. Sagnik says, Ben Davis train go. Choo choo. That's not a train. We're not getting behind that, mate. Kaidane's Keith says, hi James. Buy Gallagher for Ben Rama or roll the transfer. It's a roll. Have a look at the benching dilemma, mate. There's one that will surprise people there. Santosh Kumar says, I'm going Captain Kane. Thoughts? My thoughts are that I go and listen to the first 2 minutes of the stream. Sam Holden says, hi James, sorry no doubt you've been asked this in the past. If you could change one thing about the FPL game rules, what would it be? Well, I wouldn't particularly, but here's one you'd all hate. People want the bonus system fixed, right? Just fucking scrap the bonus system. No bonus points. Done. Just scrap it. Barry Peace has already done Havertz to Jota. Is Jimenez or Antonio to Kane worth it for a 4-point hit this week? If your strategy plan was to be getting... Because my plan going into this week was always, if I have to take... And this was back when Nuno was manager. If I have to take a -4 hit to get Harry Kane this week, that is what I will do. That would have been my strategy going back to game week 4-5. Honestly, that far away, I was absolutely certain no matter was going to happen when I got here that I wasn't going to have Harry Kane. So if that's how you feel too, fine. I think for Jimenez, I'd be tempted because of the immediate. I don't think Antonio will blank today, personally. Therefore, you have to question if it's worth it. I'm probably going to say no. It's worth saying, going back to game week 4-5, my intention at that point would have been to be captaining Harry Kane for these next 4 fixtures. Currently, I don't have an intention to do that. Game week 14-15, I may change my mind and do it, but right now I don't think it's necessary. Optimus Prime says, why all people think Liverpool gonna win Arsenal? Anyway, 7 goals in last 2 days. Kane is the best captaincy choice with Leeds. Be so poor defence. Why does everyone think Liverpool gonna beat Arsenal? I wonder. Reality is Arsenal on a great run, in good form. They're improving. They're doing really well. Can they get something at Liverpool today? Yes. I think it would still be a surprise. What are Maitland-Niles and Lokonga if Partey's not fit? What are they going to do against what I think would be a midfield three of Fabinho, Henderson and Thiago? That's where I expect the game will be won. Sagnik says, who would you prioritise bringing in? One of Emerson, Reggie, Foden or Cancelo? Cancelo, mate. Nathan Chapman, if Azpilicueta doesn't play at all, I'll get Livramento off the bench. Perfect. That being the case, do you think taking a -4 for Azpilicueta to Cancelo would be worth it? Arguably, yes. But no. No, you've got a brilliant... Go back to my earlier point. You've got brilliant benching cover. No, not particularly. I'm probably in the minority in thinking that Norwich will score today. Nick Hill says, hey, James, should I start Vardy or Dyer? Couldn't find it in the animation slides. It's one of my favourite ones, mate. Go into the bathroom, mate. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself who you want to start, Vardy or Dyer. And I promise you, if you come to the conclusion afterwards of Eric Dyer and you're right, then I'll find you and I'll buy you a drink, mate. Excuse me. Definitely Jamie Vardy, mate. Definitely. Listen, it's Jamie Vardy's the second highest scoring FPL striker this season. Yes, he's got Chelsea at home. He's shown us numerous times that he can score in these type of games, right? Play. If you've got Jamie Vardy, please play Jamie Vardy. I don't even fancy Tottenham for a clean sheet. But why would it? I don't know why anyone would fancy Tottenham for a clean sheet this week. It may well come. And it may well be that Dyer gets 6 points and Vardy gets 2. Is that how you want to play this game? Nah, play Jamie Vardy, mate. Sanjay says, I have Foster and Buemo, Livramento and Mitchell on bench. Should I bench boost? Thanks for putting it on capitals, Sanjay, which is one of my pet hates. The answer is no, mate. Ali Jahangirov says, hi James and company, 4,000 overall. Should I captain Salah or Kane? You're at 4,000 overall. It's not a position that I'll probably ever see. I don't know why you're asking me a question. You know what I'm going to say. Salah. You got that rank, right? If Kane betters Salah, what's the worst that's going to happen? If you go Kane and Salah goes mental this week, you ain't going to be 4K next week. So what do you want to do at the moment? Do you want to hold rank, or do you want to go for the stars? If it was me in that position at the moment, I'd want to hold rank. There's a long way to go. Kidane says bench 1, Duffy, Jimenez, Gallagher. That's extremely straightforward, mate. That would be the defender. Joe Finley Badass says, morning James. If I had Ronaldo, I'd captain him. I did say I'd probably bottle it though, right? And I think that's the right advice for me to give people. That's the right advice is for me to say, yeah, do you know, and I would. I'd honestly think that, Joe. It's easier 5 days before the event to go, yeah, I think I'd captain Ronaldo over Salah. And I would be tempted, and I don't mind if anybody does that. The reality is, as I just explained to the previous questioner about Harry Kane, if I was in that position, I don't think it's worth it this week. I'd bottle it. Therefore, I think that's what I've got to advise. Is that Farhan says, hi James, who would you start between Chilwell and Buemo and Livramento? We already have James in the team. If bench 2, in what order? I don't think you can believe in that Ben Chilwell at the moment, mate. So the order you've written them. Sam Taylor says, hi James, would you play Jimenez over Rafinha this week? Good question. The answer is yes, I would. Gordon Ramsay says, Gordon Ramsay? Make us some breakfast, please, mate. I'm starving. Hi, James. Antonio to Kane this week for a hit or next week for free? Next week for free. The one and only Smith. Bench 2 of Gallagher, Livramento, Hwang, Tony. You'll find all of them on the bench in dilemmas, mate. Daniel Thomas. Hi, James. Start Cornet or Rudiger this week. I'm thinking Cornet. Yep. That's going to get the seal of approval for me. Maxwell Cornet isn't on the bench in dilemma screen because A, his ownership is very low, but B, more importantly, I figured that someone would ask this sort of question, and I figured I could talk about it and say I'd pick him over nearly everybody on that list, bar probably the actual forwards, Vardy and Tony. Yeah, Cornet. I'd play Cornet over Rafinha this week. Honestly, I would. So yeah, stick him in, mate. Jash Vatasaraj says, hi, Hwang and Bremo, best of luck to you. Best of luck to you too, mate. Below me, benching dilemmas. It's going round, baby. You'll find it. Dan Chung, hi, James. Can you pick one starter? Livramento, Mitchell and Henry. Yeah, Livramento, mate. Eshan says, on a wild card, Johnson and Emil Smith-Rowe or Emerson Royal and 4.5 bench fodder. But that's almost impossible to answer, mate. Well, I guess you're saying Johnson as your fodder. If I was wildcarding now, I'd be going treble Spurs. And that three for me would be Emerson Royal, Son and Kane. So I'm going to say the Emerson Royal option. Finn O'Connell, please help. What you want to do with that, probably the 4.5, just in case you get stuck with transfers, have a look at who's got a good run of fixtures between 16 and 18 and see if you can find something there that maybe will cover you. I'm just having a quick scan for it. Crystal Palace is fine. So I would get a Palace player with that. Finn O'Connell, help please. Should I do Rafinha to Jota? How are you, man? Yeah, I'm alright. If you want to do it for free, I don't mind that. Drew Howard says, hi James, curious at what point would you want to swing against Salah on captaincy based on our rank? Is there a point where you'd be willing to risk it more or just stay the course? I think it's that change, right? So if Kane shows real clear progression in his performances over the next 2 game weeks, and Salah doesn't, let's be honest, Salah hasn't scored for 3 weeks or so, then I think Kane versus Brentford and Kane versus Norwich we're at a real debate level. I don't think it is now, personally. I think it's based on people want to do it is based on what they've seen for England. And I repeat what I tweeted last Friday night, is that England are much better than Tottenham. And the main issue for Harry Kane is not Harry Kane finishing chances, it's will Tottenham create chances for Harry Kane. Because in an Antonio Conte system, you ain't going to see him going to pick the ball up with the centre-backs. He's going to stay as a forward. So someone's got to get him the ball. That's the concern. So we don't know that Tottenham can do that. You know me, there's never any doubt that Harry Kane will get returns. Can Tottenham get him the ball? That's the big concern. I don't think it's worth it. Now, in a couple of weeks, the manager bounce, etc., it could be on. So we're not thinking too long-term here in terms of saying, I'm never going against Salah. I mean, the irony for me is 16-17 after our wildcards, Villa at home, Newcastle at home is getting the armband again. Despite the fact Ronaldo's got Norwich away. I can't overlook Salah at home to Villa, unless Villa show us something over the next few weeks that go, ooh. But I don't see where that would be any different to... I'm still going Salah now against Arsenal, right? Arsenal are better than Villa. So I think 14 for me is when I go and have a look again. Can I take Salah on? Otherwise, I wouldn't at the moment. Ronaldo would be very tempted this week, but honestly, I would bottle it. Eshen says Trossard, Gundo, Emil Smith Rowe, Cornet, best options. Cornet, mate. Fred Q01, hi James. Who should I bench out of Mbeumo, Rudiger, and Wood? You bench him 1 or 2. I'd play Chris Wood certainly out of that, and I'd go Mbeumo over Rudiger. Drew Howard, your rank. Oh God, I tweeted it. 300,000 and something. I want to say 370,000. I don't know, mate. I worry more about the content than the rank. Sam Williams says, hi James. Rafinha or Vardy is my dilemma this week. What would you do? What into play? Jamie Vardy. FPL Invincible, good morning, James. Just one question. Kane and Gallagher or Son and Wilson? Son and Wilson. Ripwit Via says, Adsby to Shaw and Rafinha to Jota from -4. Shaw now? Or Wilson in for Jimenez or... Fuck buying Luke Shaw, mate. Go and listen to Clash of Correspondents. I tried to make the case on getting a United defender when I wildcard, which is when United have their really good fixtures. Remember, they've got Chelsea away next week. And he was shooting me down. He was like, forget that. Sod it. Forget it. I probably still will get a United defender on wildcard, actually. But no. No chance I'm buying Luke Shaw at the moment, right? Yeah, he could keep a clean sheet against Watford. How many points he's got? I think I saw a stat that, and admittedly not playing at Old Trafford this week, but Luke Shaw's got less points at Old Trafford this season than Cancelo, Courtney Hawes and someone else. I think even Lindelof has got more. No, so it'll have to be Wilson in for... Yeah, Wilson for Antonio, I think. It depends if you think short term or longer term. I don't think you want to get rid of Jimenez with the next 2, personally. But it's tight. There's a few others asked for Jimenez and Antonio. I guess, how long do you want Wilson for? I'm guessing it's not more than 4 game weeks. Do you know what? That's probably sell Jimenez. No, it's not. It's sell Antonio. It's perfect. Antonio to Wilson, back to Antonio. Chris Jago says, quick quiz, James. Oh, okay. He changed the face of nutrition and training in the Premier League. He built a stadium on a shoestring. James did not rate him in a decade of football. Smile. It's not true, Chris, and I explained to you the reasons behind that podcast why I didn't go with Arsene Wenger. It was to add to the wider conversation. There is no doubt that Arsene Wenger should be in there. The amount of people that I left out, I can't believe that the only one I've been criticised for is the fact that I didn't put Arsene Wenger in there. That's a Patron podcast we did in the week. And as I said to you, Chris, I don't disagree with you, right? It was a nightmare. Shifo says, hi, boss. Which 3 would you bench out of EMS? EMS? Is that maybe like Emil Smith Rowe? Livramento, Havertz, Gallagher, Brojo, and Tony. Wouldn't bench Havertz. Wouldn't bench Tony. I'd probably play Gallagher. I don't think Brojo will start for Southampton. Andy P says, morning, James. Good luck to you. Sky question. Move Aubameyang to Kane and Antonio to Cancelo for Sunday. Cheers. Getting a thumbs up from me, mate. Dion Chung, start Adam Armstrong, Gallagher, Adam Armstrong, mate. Liam says, hi, James. Hope you're well. Love the pod. Want Jota, have 2 FTs to get him for ASR. Is this another Smith Rowe? I'd need to do Laporte to White or Antonio to Tony or St. Maximin. Or Pookie if I'm feeling mad, stick or twist. Liam, I lost the will to live during that question, my friend. But thank you. Yeah. What's going on here? Don't sell Laporte. No. No. No, I'm way too confused with that, mate. There's too much going on. Don't sell Laporte this week, is my opinion. I think he'll come back in. Joey Cavers, done. Vardy to Kane and Saka to Mbeumo for free. Add Havertz to Jota for -4. Wait till next week. Wait. Adit says, hi James. Diaz versus Chilwell versus Royal. For what? In terms of start, I can't leave the Man City defensive player out this week, mate. Even the Diaz scores this week, it might be a 15-pointer, mate. So the order you've written it. Tob Yorn says, morning James, good luck this game. If you had to bench one out of Tony and Mbeumo and Livramento, who would you bench? They're on the benching dilemmas, my friend. Avijit says, hi James, play 2 of Jimenez, Diaz and Havertz. You've got me. That's rough. Can't bench Ruben Diaz. Can't be having it. Wow. That's a good one. I would probably bench Jimenez. Yikes, you've got me. Well done. A rare bench of forward scenario. But there must be someone else. This is, you know what I'm going to say? It must be someone else. Like if you think, I've got to play Livramento. Like I'd play all them over Livramento, mate. Oh, I must play Rudiger. I'd play all them over Rudiger. So I just have a second check, mate. Denver CPT86. Afternoon, James. Ronaldo captain this week. Just wanted to say good luck to all us non-Salah cappers. Thank you for reading our cues and advice you give always. By the way, guys, about 15 minutes to deadline. I'm probably not going to get to your questions if you haven't submitted them at this stage. To be honest, everybody captain Ronaldo and Kane this week. Cojones to you. I wish you the very best of luck, genuinely. Pete Haley says, particularly Kane captainers. Pete Haley says, hi James, I've got Mount. Would you swap him for Son or Jota for free or leave it? No, I'd get it done. Get it done, yeah, honestly. I would have a slight preference for Jota at the moment, personally. But if you've got the money to go straight to Son, that's very tempting. I get that. But yeah, I'd move Mount on for one or the other, mate. Ren says, hi James, the summer ended up with both Jimenez and Hwang. I would play Jimenez, but he could be rested because of the international break games. Any news about that? No concerns on Raul Jimenez. I know he didn't play at Villa after the last international break, and it caused a lot of anger amongst Wolves fans, and I think Jimenez himself, he was back a little bit earlier this time. I'm not concerned. I'm fairly certain that Raul Jimenez will play this week. Shane Wren, thoughts on Vardy to Wilson and Foden to Son? Don't mind them if they're for free, mate. Notorious Nerd, start one Foden or Diaz. You've got to start Foden, haven't you? You just got to chance it, mate. You could have got left out anyway. Aish Warrior says, is Vardy to Jesus a G? A G, as in a good, or you're a G, yo. I think Jesus might be good things this week, actually. But I'm not keen on having Jesus long term. I'm not keen on it. DM says, dear Sir James, due to Rafinha's lucky returns the last few weeks, the Rafinha is not an FPL myth is somehow still debatable. This battle continues and I refuse to submit. Have a splendid game week, good sir. Yeah, myth, eh? I appreciate the sentiment though, mate. I think it's a really nice message. Thank you. Nerdish says, Cap Cancelo, what say? I'd say if you like it, then do it, mate. You know the risk. I would not be surprised if Cancelo is the highest scoring player this week at all. Savage says, hi James, start Rudiger, Rico, Henry or Rafinha. Rudiger, my only Chelsea defender, and starting Vardy. Then you'll be losing on Chelsea either way anyway, because you probably need 2 to be winning. So that's to start Rafinha, which is what I would advise anyway. Ludwig says, morning James, hope you're well. Don't see this on a dilemma. So who would you bench of Libra? I'm presuming that's Livramento. And Mbeumo and Mitchell. It'd definitely be a bench Mitchell out of those. Can only play one and I'm already starting Tony. In which case Mbeumo is over Livramento. You'll see it. Notorious Nerd, keep Mount or go to Jota. Go. Adam says, gun to your head, James. The top 5 point scorers this week. Salah, Ronaldo, Kane, Mane, Son. I mean, it's on the captaincy picks, isn't it? Aish Warrior says, Vardy to Jesus or Aspi to any Chelsea defence, Spurs defence. Thoughts? Vardy to Jesus or Aspi to any Chelsea defence, Spurs defence. I think Azpilicueta will play today. But I can understand why you'd want to move that. So, Chilwell or James, whatever your preference, mate. John Gibbons, hi James, can you pick 3 from this 6? Livramento, Havertz, Rafinha, Adam Armstrong, Tony, Antonio. This is massive benching headache. I'll make it easy for you, mate. Pick the strikers. Alan Holohan, hey James, Diaz and Saka to Reguilon and Jota -4 or for free next week. Please don't sell a Man City defender this week, please. Dan Sheffield, Tony to Broha to fund Havertz to Son. No, don't like it. Bram Runner, is Ben Johnson nailed for as long as he plays well, but one bad performance and he'll be out of the team. There you go, that answers that for you. Rudy says bench Foden, Mount or Emil Smith Rowe. Oh, it's bench Smith Rowe with a fixture, isn't it? Ayman says play Vardy or Emerson Royal. Did I not put Smith? Yeah, Smith Rowe is on the bench and it's quite low on it actually. Ayman says play Vardy or Emerson Royal. Vardy. Tom, morning James. Hope you're well. I've got 2 free transfers. Thinking of doing Vardy and Ben Rama to Kane and Gallagher. Thoughts? If they're for free, fine. I would be very tempted to wait another week on Ben Rama to Gallagher, is my opinion. Because part of the reason I say that is you might decide this time next week that Gallagher's not the one you want. You might decide it's Maxwell Cornet. So I would go Vardy to Kane for free and roll the other. James Hurd says, good luck for the weekend. Have a good one. Looking forward to seeing our Conte and Spurs roll out. Me too, mate. Got massive fingers crossed for Tanguy and Ndombele to start, but I don't think he will. Romanthus says, afternoon, James. Have a good weekend. Sanish says, hi, James. Vardy, I'm absolutely certain that I've already covered this. Stian Bosdale, smash the like button, you wallops. Best of luck this game week, James. You too, my friend. Jonathan Porter, I've done Cancelo as captain, so praying no return for Salah. Yeah, that's exactly where you're at with it. Andrew Jarvis, thank you, James. Perfect answer. I can't remember what it was, but you're welcome. Richard Saunders Irving, he's captain Ronaldo, just the wrong move. I've covered this plenty. Lalu Tree, ready to Cancelo for free or roll the transfer at Cancelo priority. I would do it. Terry Feezy, hi James. All international break was planning Foden in from Mount, free transfer. Hold another week or still make the move. That you don't buy. You're out of buy Foden zone now because of the concern. So you're waiting at the moment. Ragav says Foden to Rashford. Don't like that, mate. It's easy to look at it 1 week and think great. You probably want to reverse that transfer next week. Roy, why you recommend playing Livra over Reguilon? It's close. They're right next to each other. I think we can look at it in sensible terms and say Livramento, greater chance for clean sheet. They are playing the worst team in the league. They may have a bounce. Tottenham without Romero, without Oliver Skip, and actually Livramento's potential for attacking return, I'd say betters this week as well. So Livramento, mate. There's your answer. Do you think Phil Foden will start with PSG in mind and Pep not wanting to risk him? Look, if I had him, I'd start him because it's not worth the pain the other way round if you bench him and he starts. You won't be able to watch the game. Fred Jones says opinion on Martial. What it commonly is, needs a shag more often, mate. Like the guy could do with smiling a bit more. Getting out of Manchester United would be good for his career, in my opinion. Victor Mwangi, who to bench? Livramento, Rafinha, Hwang or Antonio? I would be picking Antonio over Rafinha, Rafinha over Livramento, Livramento over Hwang, Eshan, Gundo or Foden or Trossard or Wildcard. Not sure I like any of them. Can I say Maxwell Cornet? Amarch says, hey James, love the content. Bench one of Rafinha, Alan St. Maximin, Livramento. Good luck with your game weeks, Livramento. If you still got St. Maximin, not benching with that fixture this week, mate. Luke Williams, first time on stream. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, my friend. Hamza says, hi, from Pakistan. Best forward in the budget of 7.3. I'm going to give you a name that's not being spoke about much at the moment, and I am going to say Chris Wood. Edwin Graham, penalty shootout soon, I hope. Oh my God, thank you for reminding me, Edwin. We'll get there one day. Villa 30, what's the thinking behind the Spurs double up? I'm thinking of doing the same by getting rid of Havertz, but thinking of waiting another week. I'm just attacking the fixtures. This has been my strategy for weeks on end, mate. It will either do really well, it will blow up in my face. Luke Williams says, need to bench either Smith Rowe or Tony. Straightforward, my friend Luke. You'll find both of them on the benching dilemmas from me. They run in order from pages 1 to 5. If you're not sure, listen back to the first couple of minutes, my man. Prabesh says, Antonio Jimenez to Lecadia and Kane. Lecadia? Is he still listed? With an upgrade in mid in mind, worth it? No. Izad says, do you think Kane is the best captain than Salah? Have a look at the screen, my friend. Bottom right. Razwan says, James, bench one, providing they all start. You don't know they're all going to start. Livramento, Benrahma, Himi or Raf. I'll bench Livramento, mate. Cole Engberg, Gallagher or Zaha? By Gallagher, mate. Zaha's not worth the extra at the moment. Hamza says, my friend, delete your repeat questions if you put it in loads of times, but I've not seen you before, so I'm going to give you a chance. 1 FDE, Lamptey over Livramento. If I had Tariq Lamptey in my team already, I think I'd definitely be wanting to start him, based on the fact he played right up midfield against Newcastle. I think they might go back to a back three this week, but I think it would be Lamptey at wing back. Eshan says, will Johnson keep his place? I've done this one, my friend. Careful with the repeat questions. Avinash says, question, Vardy to Trent -4 or roll the transfer and get Trent next week for Havertz. Prefer to roll. Alex Delarge on wildcard. Would you go with Reguilon and Foden or Diaz and Rafinha? Truthfully, I'd go Reguilon and Rafinha. Straight as. Still Express, but that's a specific question for wildcard. Bear that in mind. Still Express 76. Morning, James. And Buemo to Cornet or hold. Enjoy Bond. Cheers, mate. I think I'd hold. I fancy Brentford for a couple today as well. So I think hold. Brentford, great fixture next week as well. My plan is to get rid of the Brentford boys in game week 14, ironically, before they come and destroy Tottenham, I'm sure. FPL Red, we've got about 5 minutes to deadline, guys. Make sure you're getting locked in. FPL Red, I want Ronaldo for Vardy, but need to get rid of Havertz or Foden to Jota to get there. Can't decide. Please help. If you're mad for it, Havertz to Jota. Ray Karashi, morning James, great to hear you on Spaces on Thursday. I had no clue what I was doing. At some point I was speaking, I could hear 2 other people speaking. It was a bit weird. Stian needs to get in my DMs and tell me how that shit works. I don't understand it. What are your thoughts on it, and will you look to Space more often? Hope your hours. The problem for me, Ray, is time. So, and also got a little one, right? So I think the best time for Spaces, in all honesty, is really late at night, sort of 10 o'clock, and so I can't be doing it at that time with a little one, mate. During the day, finding the time is extremely difficult. But I'm aware I quite like the platform. I've quietly had a listen to a few other Spaces that have been going on. I like it. I think it's pretty decent. I would like to. It's time, mate. And as you're about to find out, my December's going to get worse. You'll find that out in 6 minutes. Average Joe, start on Buemo or Mount. I'd go on Buemo, mate, actually, I think. Naeem Stevens, hi James, enjoyed this week's content. Vardy to Ronaldo captain for a 1 week punt for a free transfer. That free transfer could kill you, mate, but for 1 week, do it. Cool Bear 248, hey James, hope you're well. Who would you start, Vardy or Foden? Vardy, mate. You have to at the moment, unfortunately, because I'm lying. I'm fucking lying. Don't not play Phil Foden. I'm lying. There must be someone else in your team as worse. Stop this, oh my god, we got to play Livramento every week stuff, if that's what people are thinking. Because most of you are not going to start him next week, honestly. Zufferman, start Rudiger or Smith Rowe. I'd go Rudiger, actually. 1 FDE, Mahrez over Vardy. Only if you're wildcarding in game week 13, mate. Garlic 25, morning James, good luck this week. Apologies for the DMs. You're good, Jack. No probs, mate. From these streams, mate, I don't like repeating myself. Once enough. Pavli says Smith Rowe or Shimikas to Livramento, or is that a pick? Shimikas. If it enables you money and you're happy for him to sit last on your bench and doesn't block you 3 Liverpool players, which with Salah, Jota and Trent you probably want at the moment, fine. I think Shimikas is probably only one. I think Shimikas will play today, by the way. I think he'll start. But I don't think he'll start next week. This is so short term. If you're starting to pick for your team, I would start Shimikas. I would gamble it. I'd gamble it that he starts. But I wouldn't buy him. Alex says, hello, I have to choose 2 from Smith Rowe, Livramento, Vardy, Rudiger, Duffy. Which 2 gonna go with? They are all of those players on the bench in dilemmas, my friend. Have a look below me on the screen. Pages 1 to 5, run in order. John Simpson, 2 free transfers. Hwang for Antonio, Jota for Rafinha, or sort my weak defence. You want to buy Hwang for Antonio? Jota for Rafinha's fine. John, you can say, or sort your weak defence, but I don't know what that weak defence is, mate. El Srinivasan, Antonio or Bowen, pick me. To buy, right now I'd be buying Bowen. but I wouldn't buy either right now. Start, still the big man. Cool Bear 248. I've done that, mate. The RPMD. Who do you think Burnley will? Why do you think Burnley will beat Palace? I just fancy him, to be very honest. I think Burnley have had an upturn. I think there might be something in the fact that MacArthur's missing for Palace. It might mean a slight alteration in shape for them as well. Would I be surprised if Palace beat Burnley? No, I think that's a flip of a coin. I just fancy Burnley. I think they're on an upturn of results. This time next week, I might be tipping Burnley to beat Tottenham. You never know. Nat Ogle, Rafinha, Jota and bench Diaz for Jota. What? Why would we want to bench a Man City player this week? I can't be having that. Mohamed Azan, Son or Kane? Oh my God, 58 minutes and it's the first time I've been asked. That's incredible. Or is it the fact you guys listen to the content so you already know? They'll both score very similarly over the next few weeks. Slight preferences with Kane. Tan J. Porter, Rudiger or Livramento. I'm already playing Chilwell. Makes no difference, mate. They're on the benching dilemmas. Literally, one is above the other. I think as I'm speaking, it's there. Shadrach says, hi, should I bench Livy, Walker or Hwang? Oh, God. Look, I'm not keen on Hwang. It's a personal opinion as an asset. I'd actually pick Livramento ahead of him. Alex says, I'm on Livramento and in the same boat. There you go. Ricardo D'Amata, hey James, thanks again. First bench Rafinha or Livramento. Yikes, Rafinha. Merv Doran, hi James, thanks for the content and entertainment you and Suj. No, really, thank you very much. What would be your alternative midfield this game week if you had one? Cornet would be one of them. Gundogan, like if I was free hitting or something, probably Gundogan would probably go in there for me. But I don't suppose it matters because I think the deadline's gone, guys. I make it 11 o'clock. Checked clock. Indeed it is. Apologies to those whose questions I didn't get to, but I'm hoping I covered most things during the hour for most people. If anybody has any non-FPL questions, I'm going to jump to the end of the chat now, pop them in the queues, and I'll happy to get them covered over the next 15 minutes or so. For everybody else, I promised you a bit of a Patron announcement. How many of you are on Twitter? Hands up if you are. There's a treat that's going to drop in a minute on Twitter. It may take a while because it's got a little bit of video in there. You don't need particularly sound for the video. Basically, this month in December on Patreon, we are going to be boosting all our basic tier patrons to intermediate tier. We're going to be boosting all our intermediate tier to advanced tier. And there'll be extra written content, the musings of an FPL content creator. Yes, this madman. Every day in December, we're giving more for all of our patrons in December. This offer will apply to existing and new Planet FPL patrons through the month of December. Intermediate tier or basic tier, therefore, this month, there will be over 20 additional podcasts. If you want to support our content, may I suggest December the 1st will be a very, very good time. Or you could do it now just to say thanks. £3 a month is what basic tier will cost you in December, and that will get you over 20 additional podcasts. Also, obviously, gets you what basic tier gets you now into the Slack and the FPL community. Our Slack is a thriving place. It's just a really bloody nice version of Twitter, basically. That tweet sent. If anybody wants to share that tweet, be much appreciated. You know, James, how can we thank you and stuff? That's one. Get behind that tweet. It's literally gone out about 20 seconds ago on my timeline. So content in December, everybody's getting more. Basic tier will get the intermediate content. Intermediate tier will get the advanced tier content. And the advanced tiers will be getting extra written content as well. Next week's Patreon content, I think I can lock in and tell you now, will be our Q&A on Monday. This will still be an intermediate tier, unfortunately, for this month. Tuesday will be our UEFA Champions League Game Week 5 preview. Wednesday will be Tottenham. Thursday will be a quiz. I need to decide the theme. And Friday will be our Game Week 13 preview show. As I said, there'll be advanced tier videos every weekday next week for our advanced tier patrons as well. I have not had the time to think of topics yet for things like talking tactics, but I'll come up with some stuff for certain. Main podcast next week that's available to everyone, and there's still, you know, if you don't want to support us, and James, I want the free shit. I already said, what's there? I think there's eight deadline streams between the 31st and the 30th of November and the 1st of January. There'll be content every weekday as per usual. The only day that it probably won't be, Tuesday the 28th, we probably won't release a podcast because I think the FPL deadline is like 11 o'clock in the morning, but there will be a deadline stream. I will do that for you on that Tuesday morning. Then I'm going down the pub to watch Tottenham at Southampton. So that's going to be the only weekday in December where there isn't all the usual content. So loads of Clash of correspondence coming up for you, including Arsenal versus Newcastle this Thursday with 352 FPL Footballer. Sky podcasts every Wednesday. People's Poll most Tuesdays. On Fridays, obviously in December, we've got a lot of midweek sets of fixtures. So when that's the case, on Fridays, we're going to do a full game week review on a Monday and a Friday. So you are up to date on everything. Right, I'm looking forward to December. I'm going to be dead at the end of it. The FA Cup third round is going to be like a relief when it comes around. I'm going to take a weekend off. Then we'll probably get something like Rochdale away in the cup. And I'll be like, oh, do you know what? I might just thump it up the country and sod my weekend off. Right, let's get into these non-FPL questions. I wish you all very best of luck for the week. For anybody who came just for the FPL stuff, enjoy your week. Hope the arrows are green. Smash a like on the way out. Be very much appreciated. Hamish Holmes says, would you like to dress like Ralph Hasenhüttl? I mean, look, respect to Ralph, respect to even Dominic Calvert-Lewin for going out there and stuff. It wouldn't suit me. I'm just a little fat guy, mate. So, you know, these people are more handsome than me and can pull this shit off. Felix Kjellberg says, is the tick mark in benching dilemmas the one to start or the ones to bench? It's the ones to start, Felix. Garlic25 says, hope this makes sense. You own all these players. You play one, bench one. Deadline's gone, mate. Thank you, Jack. I'm not doing any more FPL questions now, mate. Neil Zappel says, hands up. Essence says, what's your combined West Ham Leicester 11, assuming all players are fit? Love drop me. I don't mind doing them, actually. Schmeichel in goal. Ricardo Pereira at right back. Centre backs would be Zuma and Fofana. I would prefer to have a left back at left back, so I'm going to say Aaron Cresswell. Midfield three, they'd all have to go in. Rice, Tielemans and Ndidi. And then I would be front three of... Personally, Antonio up front. Bowen right, Barnes left. Very debatable, a lot of them, though. Sam Holden said, do you think there is a way to integrate qualifiers into current Nations League format? Yeah, great suggestion, mate. And combining them would fix competitiveness amount of fixtures. Not convinced how qualification rules would work. Yeah, exactly that, mate. Listen, the bottom two Nations League, or at least the bottom one, or something, right? Only the winner of that goes into the qualifiers or something. I've spoken about it a few times this week, and I feel bad, but we don't need these San Marino games and stuff, right? It's no good for San Marino. We need to look beyond it, unfortunately. It happens in other nations. In North America, they've seeded teams that go through, like USA, Canada, Mexico, and all them, Costa Rica and that. They tend to skip the first round of qualifiers. It's the same in Africa, loads skip qualifiers. It's the same in Asia as well. Right, so pre-qualifying is completely acceptable, absolutely fine, and that should be happening now in Europe because more than anything for the players, you do not need this shit. Look how many England players didn't go to San Marino. What do we have, 4 or 5 outfield players? Nah, no one needs that hassle in their life, right? England could pick a team of championship players and they would still beat San Marino. No one needs that in their life. Andrew Jarvis says, something I've always wondered, do players get new kits to wear every game or are they washed and reused? Andrew, that will depend where you're at, mate. So Premier League level, you're certainly getting new kits, no doubt about it. And I would imagine that's probably the case through the majority of the Football League as well. I think once you're going into non-league, yeah, it's probably wash your own kit and stuff like that for those who are not professional clubs. I guess the cost of new kits is probably not ideal at even like League 2 level and League 1 level. It would probably depend on the state of individual clubs. But Premier League clubs, yeah, new shirt every week, mate. Bad Company says, hi James, can you pick from Spurs and Arsenal squad what's your first 11? God, you're having me off with these this week, aren't you? I shall do it though. Goalkeeper would be Hugo. Right back is tough at the moment. I'm going to say Tomiyasu just at the moment. Left back, definitely Tierney. To be honest with you, centre backs, definitely Gabriel was the left-sided. It's close between Romero and Ben White. I think at the moment, probably give the edge to Ben White, in fairness. I'm hoping Romero's going to come on really good. Now, fuck it. I'll put Romero in there. I'll be biased. Midfield. Both fucking shit. Can I do the... I'll do the attackers and I'll come back to midfield. Attackers. Kane up front. Saka on the right. Son on the left. Smith Rowe at 10. Midfield. Fuck, mate. I'm going to say Højbjerg and Partey. And if you want to know why Tottenham and Arsenal are adrift of the top three at the moment, there's a very good reason why. Andrew Jarvis, highly recommend joining the Patreon, a great community, and really feel involved with the pods. Thank you, mate. Much appreciate that. I should share that with the Slack community as well. By the way, for patrons, that link, and it is on Patreon as well. There's more information about the Patreon offering post on Patreon itself. Phil McMahon said sold. Neil Zappel says will do. Thanks very much. PC Matt says to Andrew Jarvis, I'm not in the mood as my stomach hurts too much now. Matt, go for a doo-doo, mate. Renegade Pasta. Thanks, James. Always appreciate it. No problem. Jonathan says, hi, James. Do you think Liverpool are doing something similar with Klopp as Spurs did with Poch by not backing him properly in the transfer market? There is a possibility that squad will get a little bit stale in the next couple of years. That the age of the best players are not in a lot of them are like 29 coming on to 30 and stuff like that. There is the possibility of that happening, yes. That said, I mean, there was huge backing when he bought Van Dijk. Everyone was like, that's way too much. When he bought Alisson, that raised big eyebrows, the amount they paid as well. So I think if they really identify the player, they'll do it. I would say Liverpool are not operating at a financial position that is there to be competing with the likes of Manchester City and Chelsea at the moment. And the reason they are where they are is highly because of Jurgen Klopp and the way he works. And some of the signings he's made, I want to say he bought Salah and Mane as well, I think. And Firmino. I think he's bought all of them. I might be wrong on Firmino, I'm not sure, but he's bought the majority of the squad and not from like hugely competitive clubs. I mean, like Salah came from Roma, probably the biggest club that they bought a player from. There's been signings from Southampton. Firmino was from Hoffenheim. Thiago was a free transfer. Andy Robertson was from Hull. Alisson was also from Roma. So it's not like they've pillared from major clubs around Europe. Roma fans going to get right on my back, as if they weren't gunning for me anyway, because I told them they'd soon get pissed off with Mourinho, and I was right, wasn't I? I think there is a danger for that though over the next couple of years, and also because he works them so hard, could some of them hit a wall? You know, Phil says I think they hit that wall back in January with the defensive problems, and some of the attackers hit the wall, and I think it's come back around and they're remotivated again. He's an outstanding manager, Jurgen Klopp. Ragaf says, what will count as success for you for Antonio Conte time with Spurs versus what you believe he will be able to achieve realistically? I think Antonio Conte can achieve almost anything at Tottenham, subject to how long he's there. Like, I think if Antonio Conte is there in 3 years, it is not impossible to think that Tottenham could challenge for the league title, because he's an exceptional manager. And refer back to our podcast on People's Poll on Tuesday. There is certainly money to spend. There is money for Antonio Conte to spend. Now, I don't think there's going to be a lot of that in January. But I think, if he's got a full summer transfer window, he'll fix that squad. I really believe that. In the short term, there is nothing, and I said this last week or the week before, success right now for me as a Tottenham fan is me looking forward to the games and me being able to go to the games and feel like I can roar on and support my team. That in the immediate is what success looks like after what I've watched the last couple of years. I'm certain I'm going to get that. So that's the immediate. Anything else beyond that this year is a bonus. Like if he gets top 4 with that squad, that is a miracle. A miracle. That squad of players are, in my opinion, at best the 7th or 8th in the league. If you take Kane and Son out of it, it is a bottom half squad as far as I'm concerned. I've heard a lot over the last couple of weeks. Tottenham have a great squad. It is absolute nonsense. That squad needs major overhauling, so it's going to take a long time. There is no instant success. Obviously, having him on board, we are far more confident about where we're going. And we're on the start of a journey. So at the moment, it's just about enjoying the games again, feeling like I can support the team. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow because partly as well, although there's a little fear about it, Leeds games are normally good, right? So should be a good watch tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. Antonino Gitto says, who do you was a better attacking midfielder? Prime Coutinho or Prime Eriksen? Also, same question for Prime Pirlo versus Prime Xavi. The last question is easier to answer for me, and that's Xavi over Pirlo. I think Pirlo had greater range in his passing. Other than that, Xavi all day long. On the other one, a little bit closer, but Coutinho. Peak Coutinho was the best in the Premier League at that time and around that position, I think. Liverpool got him for pittance. It's a shame that his kind of career's tailed off and it's not really worked out for him as such at Barcelona. Although I want to say he got a Champions League winning medal from the other year. Coutinho over Eriksen, and for me, definitely Xavi over Pirlo. I realise that I'll upset the cool kids and stuff, but Xavi is a god of a footballer for me. Pirlo, world-class legend. Xavi, a god. Garlic25, my earlier question wasn't FPL, was if you owned a club. Oh, I can't remember it, Jack. Sorry, mate. Tiny King, hey James, hope you have a good weekend. Which player in the Premier League currently would you most like to go for a pint with? Which player in the Premier League currently would you most like to go for a pint with? Harry Kane. I'd want to know what he's thinking. I think I know what he's thinking. In terms of he still wants to leave the football club, I think, but it's not necessarily going to happen. But I also think he's on board with, okay, let's see what happens over the next 6 weeks or so, and if this is going to improve. That's sensible for him. Yeah, I'd want to sit down and speak to him. I'd also want him to know what he's thought of by Tottenham fans, and the impact of what he does and what effect it has on them. Todd Galloway says, how did you and Suj meet? Oh, you're new, Todd. Not a problem. I worked for Suj's packaging company. He's the boss of the boss, if you will. Wasn't my direct line manager. Suj is above that. Suj's got about 40 businesses on the go. Exaggeration, but it might be. I don't know. And I'd won the Work Mini League, and he said, "You want to start a podcast?" And that's it. I've told that story so many times, and it will never change. There's nothing flashy to that story at all. John Simpson says, which Premier League player has, in your opinion, improved the most this season? Good question. Who's improved the most this season? I'm looking at teams. Shane Duffy I'd put in there as a bit of a shout. He's done pretty well for Brighton, actually. Most improved. There's got to be a better answer than that, though. Oh, wow. I will throw a name in that I thought was really good against Villa for Southampton the other week, and I've got more of an eye on now at the moment, purely because I know Tottenham need a left-footed centre-back. It's Mohamed Salisu of Southampton. I couldn't see anything in him, but there might be a player developing there, actually. I think if were possible, I think Declan Rice has gone up to another level, actually, this season. I'll go with Duffy, actually. Fuck it. Bollocks. Because I think he was shot as a footballer, and I think he's made a really good recovery and largely done quite well for Brighton this year. So I'm going to say Shane Duffy. Dragon Yosiowski, do you think Barcelona will make top 4 this season? Thoughts on the sign of Dani Alves? Is there a quick fix for their on-field issues? I'll be honest, I haven't looked at the La Liga league table for a couple of weeks. I'm not best placed to comment, but my instinct would be no. I don't think they will. And I think that's potentially disastrous, because I think Barcelona actually think that their solution is to throw more money at the problem. I genuinely think they think this is the way out of this, and I don't see how it can be. Look, if Dani Alves has gone there and reportedly basically on kind of held back money that he'll get paid in the future or something, then kudos to him. He probably doesn't need the money. Wants to help his old club out, but who he's obviously got association with. I think it's a little strange. I think it's a sign of where Barcelona are at. But look, not many of us want to see Barcelona kind of in crisis, because we'd rather have it's like a World Cup. Like, you know, I still want Italy to qualify. It'd be funny if they didn't, but I want them to qualify. And I wouldn't really want a Champions League without Barcelona in it. Although the sympathy does tail off once you remember Perez and the Super League and make your bed and stuff, innit, right? Barcelona need that so badly. I don't think they will. I think there's, you know, Atletico, I think will. Seville were a decent side at the moment. Sociedad been on a really good run. These sides could all finish above Barca. Ray Qureshi says, your favourite ever retro kit, James? Mine is the purple Fiorentina kit, which was synonymous with Batistuta. I think as a kid growing up, the one that felt synonymous with non-Tottenham, because of stuff I'd seen, and I'm going back to when I was like 5-6 years old. Brazil like 1982 in Spain is probably the one. Yogesh says, James, who do you like more FPL wise, Emerson Royal or Reggie? I don't think it matters because the deadline's gone, and I've definitely covered it at least 50 times over the last couple of weeks. Joseph Elliott, hello James, what's your position in Sky? I suppose you captain Salah today. Who you captain tomorrow? Harry Kane or Cancelo? I'm going Salah, and I'm buying Cancelo and captain Cancelo tomorrow. I already own Harry Kane. I'm about 2,700. 31 transfers left. It's stagnating at the moment. My second team has a couple more transfers, which is effectively a dead team. And it's not far behind. It's about 3,300. And I made a comment to the patrons, I think on a Patron pod, Sky pod that we did at the start of the season. And I said to them, and I'm fascinated to see if this follows through. I said to them that I thought my B team would have a better chance of winning Sky than my A team this year. Which is interesting in terms of the strategy of the game. I'm possibly going to make a move in that B team though, because I can't in the A team, and I may go Son this week with Kane for the 4 weeks and double up on them. I haven't decided yet. I'll see how the lay of the land is after the fixtures today, I think. Shifo says, which three kits are the best and worst this season? Tottenham's kits are all wank. Best kits this season. I like Palace's home kit this year, actually. I prefer Brighton in stripes. I think that possibly has a little influence. I don't think about these things too much, if I'm very honest with you. To be honest, I don't mind West Ham's this year, actually, in the fact there's a traditional nature to it. It's kind of copying the Canio team from the late 90s. Right, let's rattle through your loads. I'm going to cut this off at past if I haven't already beat the questions by then, which I think I will by the looks of it, actually. Joseph Elliott, I'm going online to bet on Man United correct score to beat Watford. I've got 3-0, 4-0 lined up. Am I mad? I mean, to be honest, Joe, the fact that you're asking me that question, you shouldn't be having a bet, mate. Genuinely. Thomas says Chalobah and Thiago Silva both starting. Wow. That would be a turn up. That really would be a turn up and a surprise. Dan says end up glassing Kane if he blanks again. What? Dan's got lots of comments. He also says Ramsdale, Cancelo, Saka most improved. Ramsdale's a very good shout. Dan, hi James, most iconic shirt sponsor, Candy, Liverpool, at Holston, Tottenham. Garlic25, it was if you owned a club and you owned these three players, you had play one, bench one for future starter and sell one. If I owned a club, bench one, future starter, play Rafinha, bench Bowen and Sarr for the future. Kimo, Smith Rowe, Arsenal most improved. Yeah, it's another good shout. Duff Roses, how do you see your overall ranking, Sky Fantasy? I can only see my work league rank. It's at the top, mate. Literally next to your team name and stuff. But if you're on the normal screen, it's right at the top. Next to your team. There's a number with like a hashtag or something. That's your rank. Forever QPR, are you keeping up with Gaffer as well, James? Thanks for great content as always. to be honest, I just about remembered to make a transfer yesterday, and I brought in Rodak for Lumley, which means I've had to keep Zuma for another week because that was dead on money, and I couldn't get Stacey instead, and I didn't want to force it. I need to sit down properly at some point, which I was meant to do this week, but other things have got in the way, and have a look at my strategy for the chips and that, because I don't think I'm going to go down that not the bench boost, budget boost thing. I think it's going to be too much of a pain in the arse, particularly. Thomas says, Aspi and Christensen benched. Well, that's going to solve a few issues for a few Sky problems, if correct. Right, thanks for the cues, guys. I'm going to leave it there. Much appreciated. As I said, if you want to support our content on Patreon, massive giveaway on December, which I covered basically exactly 23 minutes ago on the stream. It's also been tweeted out on Twitter. All support is very much appreciated. We are up in the content levels for everyone on our Patreon in December. For everyone else, I hope your arrows are green. I was going to say very well. I hope your arrows are very well. I hope your arrows are green this week. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the football. And I was going to say cue music man child again, but that doesn't work either. See you all Monday. Have a good one. Ciao.